Now, very briefly, Gnosticism. Gnosticism is the belief that salvation comes through secret knowledge, also known as sacred knowledge, also known as sacred science,
Hmm.
right? Gnosticism is the idea that the physical world is corrupt, even evil, unlike the ideal spiritual realm, and that the material realm is created and ruled by a lesser god, potentially even an evil god in some interpretations.
Yep.
So, Gnosticism is a religious dualist system of belief arising in the second century. Now, understand that before you had Christian Gnosticism, you had Jewish Gnosticism,
Hmm.
right? So, Gnosticism goes way back, long before Christianity. So, but now you have Christian Gnosticism. So, this goes back to the second century, and it held that matter is evil, that spirit is good, and it claimed that salvation was attained only through esoteric knowledge, or the gnosis, the gnosis, the Greek gnosis,
Yep.
right? Now, let's have a look. Let's look at the philosophy of Gnosticism. It comes in many varieties and interpretations, from ascetic to licentious. Now, licentious is an interesting word. This might remind you of a certain prophet. The
Who had
definition
lice?
of licentious: lacking legal or moral restraints, especially disregarding sexual restraints,
Hmm.
marked by disregard for strict rules of correctness. Does this remind you of anybody, AT?
Well, it reminds me of Muhammad, but when you said licentious, I thought you were talking about the time that Muhammad had lice. I thought that's what you meant, was reminding you of
Oh no,
Muhammad. But now I
yeah,
understand it's a more
that's also
intelligent.
worth raising. Okay, so yeah, by Irenaeus. Okay, fantastic. Falcongage says yeah, and okay, so yeah, I'm going to try and provide an overview of this that's probably not common knowledge as yet. Also, we're not going to go into this at length, but look up the word antinomianism. This is worth knowing about, something I should talk about in the future. So, it is a religious philosophy and a worldview. It's a framework to explain the nature of God and creation, right? So it is its own creation narrative,
Hmm.
right? It also tries to explain good and evil, and in brackets you see the problem of evil. It tries to explain the problem of evil.
Yeah.
It also speaks about man and the purpose of life, and Gnostics do tend to focus on the inner life of the spirit,
Hmm.
which they differentiate from the material life. Think of the term I identify as. You see,
I've never heard that before. What do you mean identify as?
wokeness is Gnostic,
Yeah.
right? Because within Christian belief, God made you, your spirit, and your body. You are your soul, your body, you are one,
Hmm.
right? So God made you. And Gnosticism believes that the spirit is a completely separate thing from your evil matter, right? From the corrupt, low matter. And therefore, what your spirit believes, that's the only true self. And therefore, I believe that I am what wokeness is Gnosticism, right? They come from the same belief as dualist belief.
Hmm.
Right, now, Gnosticism and Gnosis in Islamic law, so I'm going to move us down to the. Now, we're going to examine numerous references to Gnosticism, Gnosis, and Gnostic Islamic scholars in the most famous and the most popular Islamic legal manual called The Reliance of the Travelers. So, see the video description box for a download link. It is Reliance of the Traveler called the Umdat al Salik. I'm going to bring that up now. Okay, so I'm going to go here into my PDF reader. I'm going to type in the word GNOS. Notice for Gnosis, there's 18 references. For Gnostic, there are 5. For Gnostics, there are 3. And Gnostics, 1.
Hmm.
Right, with an apostrophe. So let's go. Now, for pure religion, it's interesting. And for one that has no antecedent, it's interesting that the most popular common Sunni Islamic manual in the world, right, Islamic law manual in the world, has this many references to Gnosis. Now, let's have a look here. This famous sheikh says, okay, writes in his letter about the spiritual station of annihilation in Gnostic vision. Gnostic vision. So we have the stations of the cross, they have the stations of the gnosis. Okay,
Mm.
let's continue. It is a fault to stop at the first traces of gnosis. You see, you need to continue. You can't, you have to continue and push through, right? Because others have claimed to have attained to gnosis and contemplative knowledge of the divine, to have passed through spiritual stations and states, and to have reached nearness to Allah. It
Mm.
goes on to say that, but they're faking it. They're amateurs. We Muslims, we Islamic scholars, we've done it. We, we're the bee's knees here. So
Right. We got
others
to
have
open
claimed.
up that third eye, man. That's what we got to do.
I understand. So let's continue. We have attained to gnosis. they've attained to gnosis, right?